So good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's weird to listen to my voice with this microphone. Normally, I just yell at you. But my name is Ken Massey. I'm a member of the City Council here in the city of Farmington Hills. I'm also one of the founding members of Farmington Safe. Most of you are probably very familiar with the term Farmington Safe, suicide awareness for everyone. That's what it is. We started in 2010 when we had a number of our youth reported in a major incident report, which we receive from the police department every week. We had 11 kids in 1 week that threatened or attempted to take their own lives by suicide. And myself and two of my fellow council members at the time, Nancy Bates and Dr. Randy Bruce, we said, something's wrong. There's got to be a problem. So naively, we thought, we don't have enough resources here in the city, and we've got to work on getting resources. That said, we started convening a number of meetings with subject material experts, and we started pulling information together, and what we found was we do have resources. What we didn't have was the ability to connect people who were hurting, who were having difficulties, to those resources in a timely fashion. That was the genesis of Farmington Safe. So our role is we need to change the dialogue on mental illness and talk about it. And our mantra, and it's out there on the Farmington Safe literature, is let's talk about it. Because if we can change the dialogue and reduce stigma and get people connected up to the resources that we have within our very blessed community, we can improve the mental health of our community. And I will say that our president of Farmington Safe right now is Sarah Majoris. Sarah, wave. Actually, if you're on a Farmington Safe board, once you stand up, you should be acknowledged. So Jen Garland's over here, Tim Carruthers, Sarah, myself, Chief Nebus is here, and our EMS coordinator, Jim Etzen, is here. There's a lot of folks that are here. I want to say that we want to change that dialogue, and one of the reasons I brought up Sarah was because she found this great slide, and we incorporated it into a presentation. And when you talk about mental illness, and take the I and think about a community and all of the resources in the community and change it to a we, and you go from mental illness to mental wellness. And I think that's why this is such a powerful program. That's what we as a community that cares need to do. Now, I want to say thank you for all being here representing your organizations. This is a great opportunity for us to get to know who you are. The community gets to know you. You get to know each other. There's a lot of networking that's going to go on here. And that's going to be the overview. So at the end of my little introduction, just so you know what to expect for the evening, I'm going to introduce our speakers. We have two speakers tonight. Mr. Joshua Spears is going to be your first speaker. We'll call him the keynote. And then we have Dr. McDougall, who's with Farmington Public Schools, and she's going to talk to us about the process and reactions and how the school district handles things, which is wonderful for us to do. And then I'm going to ask each one of you, pick, if you're here with a compatriot for one of the resource tables, you're going to come up and you're going to introduce what your group is and basically what you do, and you're going to have about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to do that. So you'll want to think about a quick little introduction, and then it's going to go back out to the atrium out there for more of our networking and really getting to know each other. So that's what you can expect for the evening. Again, thank you for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to Joshua.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Just so you guys know, I'm a high energy, I talk fast, and I'm going to be doing that a little bit. And I just want to take a minute. Mr. Mayor, Farmington Safe, all you people, I want you guys to, let's all give them an amazing hand for putting on this awesome event for everybody. Have you ever noticed how your life sometimes can unfold kind of like you're watching a movie? Do you ever notice that? It's like you can watch your life on the screen in your mind like you're watching scenes from a movie. You think about that. Like think about the scenes when you were, when you got married. You think about that scene and the scenes when you graduated from college and all these different scenes. And I think about my life and I think about all the different scenes in the movie of my life, and I think of some really challenging scenes. Yeah, I remember this one scene when I was young. I went to this place called the Safe House. It's a place where people go when they have domestic violence in the home. And I remember why I went there and what my dad did. And I remember that scene. It was a tough scene. I remember another scene when I was in college and going to bed at night and hoping I wouldn't wake up. And that was a really tough scene. And there's other scenes, though, too. I remember the scene walking across the stage getting my degree from college. I remember standing at the front of this church, and the aisle was wide enough to drive a car down, and there's this beautiful girl at the end, and all my best men standing next to me the day that I got married. That was a beautiful scene. There's other scenes, too. The scene at the hospital when each one of my 3 boys were born, and ultimately this scene that we're creating together right now. See, what I found with my life, though, a lot of times what I found is the scenes don't match. I mean, how do you have all of these challenges, being diagnosed emotionally impaired and having all of these issues and all of these deep, dark issues and all these generations of domestic violence and to having a happy, healthy home? How does that happen? And the idea I want to share with you guys is a personal revolution. See, a personal revolution is when you hear an idea or you hear a thought and it changes you. It might be an idea you've heard a whole bunch of times before. I mean, I'm not going to ask you all to raise your hand, but it's when you hear something and it just impacts you in such a profound way. And the thing is, when I first started doing this, I used to always think that it was only people that were really struggling. But the fact is we're all looking for the next level. But see, what I found in some cases is sometimes we get stuck on some of those tough scenes. Let me hear scenes. Scenes. We get stuck on some of those scenes. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about trying to find a way that we can, as a community, help people who are in those tough scenes and those challenging scenes, and we can help them live the rest of their life and make some more beautiful and amazing scenes. Let me hear scenes. Are you guys ready? Let me hear ready. You guys are ready. The first idea, any good movie has a few common things. The ones we're going to talk about today is the first thing that every good movie has to have is a main character. It's got to have a good character. And if you think about the movie of our life, I mean, who in here has got a nice commute on your way to work? How long's your commute? 3 minutes. All right, give her a hand for a 3-minute commute. She's saving the environment. Good for you. Well, did you ever notice that when you get in the car, you're going to that familiar destination, you've been there 100 times or more, and you buckle your seatbelt, next thing you know, bam, you're there. Did you ever notice how that happens? It's like the ride just magically happens. But what we don't realize, friends, is when we're on that trip, we're watching a movie in our minds. We're watching scenes. We're watching the scene that we left. What happened with our husband or our wife or our parents before we left? And we're projecting scenes. We're thinking about the scene that's getting ready to happen. When we get to work, we got a big presentation coming up. We're thinking about all these different scenes. And some of us aren't thinking about scenes that just happened, but we're also thinking about scenes that happened many years ago. Let me ask you this. In that movie, in your mind, what kind of a character are you? What kind of a character are you? Are you a calm, collected, confident, capable? Let me hear capable. Character? I got to make sure you guys stay awake. Or do you have a lot of challenges? Do you have a lot of, maybe we see ourselves as a little too heavy, maybe a little too short, maybe our bank account isn't what we want, and we have all these different things that we see when we watch that movie in our minds. And the thing is what's probably happening here is we have a whole bunch of awesome community leaders in this room. And I'm very well aware that we probably have a lot of people who are aware of a lot of these things, but what we don't realize is that it's been said that 85 to 90% of people hold a low opinion of themselves. They see their flaws with a magnifying glass. They might look at other people and see great things, but when they look at themselves, they see themselves as less than in some way. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're racked with depression. That means that they see themselves at less than their best. We're going to get to depression in just a minute. But that's the first example of how we think. We watch social media, we see Instagram and Facebook, and everybody's got it together. Everybody else has it together, and we're the only ones that have challenge. That's the first example of the lie that we're all alone. See, when I used to watch the character in the movie of my life on the screen in my mind, I saw a very terrible character. How I saw myself was shaped as a young boy. In the abusive home, the way I was treated by kids at school, and a whole array of things that happened to me. And I saw myself as this loser, this pathetic person. That's how I saw myself. And the thing is sometimes it's not so extreme. But as you all know, many of us in here work in mental health. We know that trauma and things that we go through make us more susceptible to these things. And when we see that character in the movie of our life, I want to ask you a question. Is it possible that the things that happen to you aren't giving you a fair representation of what that character is like? And the thing is, when it comes to mental health and all of these challenges, I mentioned the 80 to 90%. Now, that's a statistic that I would say in like a corporate speech that I do or a student leadership speech that I do, because the fact is we can all relate, but there's a whole nother level. For example, I read a report recently that over 10 million people consider suicide. These are just adults. Over 10 million people. I mean, and many of us know the number, over 47,000 people taking their own lives. But that's a very tragic number. But 10 million people have thought about doing it. That is unacceptable. Let me hear unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That is such a big number. And then when you jump into the teens, when you look at teens, you get the average teenager and a student in the teenage years. The average 20% of them consider taking their own life. They think about suicide. If you jump into the LGBTQ community, you're looking at 48%. But yet the thing is, friends, is all of these people, struggle in so many different ways. Each one of them has their own story and their own reason. Sometimes it's medical. Sometimes it's physical. Sometimes it's social. Sometimes it's emotional. They all have their own challenges. But the thing is, when it comes to being in that space, what depression and all of these things, what they do is it puts you off in a corner by yourself. You're alone. Nobody cares. Nobody's here. Nobody's available. How come that's kind of common knowledge? We assume that we all have these different things going on in our minds, but we still feel alone. And these things that happen to us, sometimes we think about them and they make us not like who we see on that character in the movie of our life. And the question is why do sometimes we still struggle? Why do we get stuck on these scenes? And for each person, it's a unique story. There's no one thing that causes everyone to feel a certain way. Each person you interact with has a different story. But, I'm reminded of this story. There's a story about this couple. They're a real big fan of the circus. They love going to the circus. Every time the circus comes to town, they just can't wait. They love the whole experience. They love the elephant ears, the corn dogs. They love the whole event. They love to get there nice and early. They get a really good seat, and they watch the trapeze artist doing all these big tricks, and they watch this lion tamer hold back this killer beast with nothing but a chair. One time they go to the circus and they become completely mesmerized by the elephant. They're looking at this big, giant animal. It's just big enough to crush a house, but yet it's so calm and serene. And the wife said, let's go look at that. So after the show, they go backstage. They go backstage and they find the elephant. They go to the elephant, and they're standing in front of this big, giant beast. And the wife says, "Oh my gosh, look at that. Look what's holding it." And what's holding the elephant is a small rope tied to a stake. The husband says, "That doesn't make any sense. There's no way that rope can hold that elephant." So the wife says, "Let's get to the bottom of this." So they go to the trainer. They go to the trainer. They say, "Sir, couldn't this elephant rip this entire tent down anytime it wanted?" The trainer said, "Absolutely it could, but it won't." The wife says, "How can that be?" So the trainer told him. See, when a baby elephant is born into captivity, as soon as it's born, it's taken from its mother. It's not given any food, any nourishment. It's taken out and it's tied to a tree. And that baby elephant tugs and pulls and wails and screams. It does everything it can do to break away from that tree. But after a short period of time, it's far too weak and it's far too young. It just stops. But then what happens is the trainers, they go to the elephant, they take it back to its mother, they give it food, they give it nourishment, and all the while that baby elephant grows up with that rope around its leg. See, what you have is a full-size elephant being held captive by the memory of its past, being held shackled by the thought of what was done to it, where it failed, being imprisoned by the constant refrain of, "It's no use, I give up." Friends, we all have our own rope on varying levels. Some of us have figured that out. We have a lot of awesome community leaders in here. But what we don't realize, friends, is that people who are really struggling, people that are really hurting, what is that rope to them? Some of them it's substance abuse, some of it's domestic violence, some of them it's depression, some of them it's a low self-esteem. Each person has their own thing. And sometimes we have to realize that the things that happen to us when we grow, we have the ability to rip that stake out of the ground. But sometimes we need some help because we get stuck on those scenes. Let me hear stuck. And we fall into the lie. The first and most important lie is we're all alone. Let me hear. And sometimes they might need to hear they're not alone. Let's just say, let me hear not alone. You're not alone. You guys are awesome. As you can tell, I talk fast. I'm going to have a sip of water. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the simple fact is I didn't know that for most of my life. For most of my life, I didn't know those ideas. I spent most of the years of my life not liking who I saw. And when I went to this alternative school, and I'd been expelled from all these schools, I got this dream from this amazing educator. He spent all this time with me, and he convinced me that I could play college football if I got out of the alternative school and I worked my way through the program. And I could give you a longer version of it, but the bottom line is it completely changed my life because it gave me something. It gave me something to chase. It gave me something for purpose. We're all looking for purpose, and I found a purpose. And I didn't have an opportunity to hear about how I see myself and how I see others and all these different elements, but I found this goal that was bigger than all my problems. It was bigger than how I saw myself, and it became everything to me, and it transformed my life. I went back to the public school after all the time in the alternative school, and people couldn't believe it was the same guy. 4 years of high school, the recruiter that I always wanted to play for this one specific school, and the guy showed up and recruited me. And I went to school there, and I was so excited. This was a dream. Keep in mind, when this dream found me, I was in an alternative school, and my grades were, I was in a mess. Can we agree that dream saved my life? A dream can save your life. Let me hear dream. Dreams can save our lives. The thing is, though, is many times we probably have realized as adults that sometimes things don't work out how we always think they are going to. We don't always realize that we want to get there. We want all these goals, but sometimes when we get there, things don't match what we expect of them. Then I broke my foot. Then I missed a whole bunch of time, and then I broke it again, and I had to have surgery. All the while, I can feel like I'm starting to go backwards. Like my whole dream, this whole thing, my whole life is coming unraveled. This dream is who I am. I got the screw put in my foot, and I broke it again. And then I spent all summer working out. I came back the next year, and I broke the same bone in the other foot. It was falling apart. Everything I am is wrapped up in this. Maybe not a lot of athletes in here, maybe some, but how many of us feel that way with our jobs, our careers? Everything I am is wrapped up in this. I transferred to a Division II school. I'm going to play quicker. I got the screw put in the right away this time. I got there. The first practice, guess what happened? I broke my foot again. I went in the office and the doctor said, Josh, you need to take up golf because your football days are over. And I found myself in a very difficult place. Everything I was gone. How I saw my life, how I saw my future was just darkness. I lost control of my eating. All of the trauma that I went through as a boy, it all came flooding back. Went to the doctor. I got on some medication. They were trying to help me. I'm going through this process. And I still remember the bunk bed. And I'm not trying to do triggers here, but I remember laying in the bunk bed, and I remember thinking, I wish I just wouldn't wake up. I remember thinking to myself about how can I stop this pain? I'm willing to do anything. And then I was on academic probation, financial aid. I skipped one whole semester. I skipped all my finals. Then I took this class. But this professor, I took it just because it fit a time slot for me. And in that class, he started to challenge the way that I thought. I was seeing my doctor. I was getting some help there as well. But this professor was challenging me on how I see myself. How do you see yourself, and is it accurate? The person who shaped you, is that accurate? And I started to realize that how I saw myself was based on lies. Let me hear lies. And the thing is friends, then I started to think about all of the stuff I had been through, and I've been watching this movie this whole time, and this character, I thought it was one way, but it wasn't true. And it changed how I looked at my future. Instead of looking at the future full of failure and no hope, all of a sudden, I just started to see that there was a lot more available to me. And that's when I came up with personal revolution. That's when I made a decision that I'm not going to live my life anymore in these chains. I'm going to rip that stake out of the ground, and I'm going to walk in freedom. Have I had challenges since then? Absolutely. But my life has never been the same. And it was then, many years ago, when I was in college, that I made a decision that I was going to work to help others. Some of you in here maybe say, Josh, I understand where you're at. I've been there. I've been in that spot. Some of us, maybe we're still there. Maybe we see that character, and it makes us sad. We think of the future, and we think of fear and dread. And you say, Josh, I'm happy for you. You had a professor and a mother and different people who sowed in your life, and a doctor who helped you. But I don't have anybody. And I just want to say to that friend in this room, to everyone else in this room, if you knew there was somebody in this room that was struggling, there was somebody in this room that was hurting, there's somebody in this room that had that much pain where they needed some help, and you would hope that they would come to you. You would hope that they would reach out to you. And if you couldn't help them, you would find them help. I would like each one of you that would be willing to do that to raise your hand. Each person that would be willing to do that to raise your hand. So hold them up for a second, guys. We have a whole room, nice and high. We have a whole room full of people who are willing to help. And the thing is, friends, thank you so much for your hands. Thing is, friends, to the people who have those hands up, you guys are the game changers for those people. And as we look at our life and we look at the future that we have, the work that each one of you do, helping those people, almost in this room today, I've done that thing a lot. In this room today, I think every hand went up. That we have a whole room full of people who are willing and able to help. So my challenge to each of you, as you go out into your world, you go back to your job, you go back to the person in the office next to you. They might be waiting for you to hear, to see that hand in the air. You might not know it. You're going to see a whole bunch of family members at Thanksgiving. How many of us love Thanksgiving? Yeah, you're going to be interacting with people, and they are not here right now to see your hand. When my kids are looking for me, around the house, they're daddy, they're looking for me. Sometimes I have to say, here I am. Here I am. And to those people back at your workplace, to those people in your organization, those people in your family, those people at Thanksgiving, those people who are looking for help, I want you to say, here I am. Let me say, here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Here I am. You guys are an inspiration to me. And the world is better because of you. The work that you are doing. I want to say that there is a whole world out there of people who are stuck in those tough scenes. They're waiting for us to let them know that we're available for them. And I will also say that there are thousands and thousands of people, because of the work of the people in this room, there are thousands of people out there that are living new scenes. They're living scenes that they may never have had before because of the work and the effort and the time and the countless volunteer hours. Some of us have spent years and tens of thousands of dollars on education to work in this field because of you. And I just want to say one last thing. It's been a privilege to be here. My name is Joshua Spears. It's an honor to spend time with this amazing organization, and I thank you guys so much for your time. Why don't you guys give yourselves a hand?
One more time for Joshua. Well, next up, Dr. McDougall, please come up and talk to us about Farmington Public Schools.
Thank you so much for having me. I think this is an amazing opportunity because I didn't think anything like this existed outside of what we do in the school system. We talk about it often. What do we do to help support our children? What do we do to help support our parents who are having difficulty supporting their children? It's amazing listening to Josh talk, because when I spoke to my staff this year, I told them, you have to be the spark in a child's life. You have to be that face, because there might be some children who come to school who don't have that loving home, who don't have someone who might smile at them, who might not give them encouragement. You have to be that spark. And we, in the special ed department, expect to be the sparks in our children's lives. Not only in my department, but we expect it in the school district. But I know that when I talk to my staff, you have to. My children, when they walk into your classroom, they need to know that you're there to help support them. So when Tim asked me would I come and talk about our protocol for suicide within our school district, I could have done a presentation, but I didn't realize Josh was going to be in front of me, which is awesome. I just want to tell you, in our district, there are several things that we have in place for students who might be considering suicide or who have mental health issues. First of all, we have 15 school psychologists. We have 17 school social workers. We have 4 social emotional staff who work in the elementary realm. We have 16 counselors in our secondary. So anytime there's something that happens within the school, we have people that we can call in to help support our students. One of the things that we do when a student indicates that they're thinking about suicide is that 2 people have to sit with that student. We don't allow just one person. It has to be a psychologist and a social worker, a counseling social worker, 2 individuals, a principal and a social worker, somebody where they can observe. One person is asking questions, the other person is watching and observing the behavior of the students. Because we know that students can lie to us. We can talk and ask these questions and we reach down and bend down to write. We might miss something in a facial expression, in a twitch, or something that will give things away. So we have 2 people who are there who are watching and noticing what's going on with our students. Another thing that we do is they have to do a checklist. And it's a suicide awareness checklist because we want to know, do you have a plan? Do you know what you're going to do? Any student who has a plan, we won't allow them to go home. Somebody has to pick them up, take them to common ground, or we would end up calling the police because there's no way we can allow that child to go home if there's a plan in place. We also develop contracts with our students. Once the counseling is over, once they finish talking to them, they develop a contract with the student stating that they will not commit suicide, that they will be back at school the next day. And for several days after that, we do check-ins to make sure that the student is okay, because we don't want a student to commit suicide on our watch. One of the things that I remember a principal or one of the staff members saying one day as well, we probably need to suspend them until they get help. I said, absolutely not. That would be the worst thing in the world to do, is to suspend a child who says that they are thinking about committing suicide. Now you're sending them home. They might be home by themselves, which would give them the perfect opportunity to do that. So we no longer think about suspending a child who's thinking about committing suicide. We want them there around people who can protect them. So we make sure that we keep them within the school setting. We also provide supports to parents. We have created a flow chart within the district that tells the parent, if your child is experiencing some type of mental breakdown or is thinking about committing suicide or behavior issues, this is the formula to follow. We also put within that formula resources, and I'm so glad I'm here tonight because there's so many people here and organizations that I didn't know existed. Now I can add them to our checklist, put them on our flow chart, so that now when we give information to parents, they don't see just 6 or 7 places that they can go. They can see 15 different organizations that might be available to help support their children. When we feel that it's very serious, we will call Common Ground. We make sure that our students receive the proper support that they need. I'm trying to think of all the things that we go through. Basically, for the most part, once the suicidal protocol has been followed and they've completed the checklist, generally they will call me. I am a licensed psychologist, but I am over the special education department. So we will talk through it and find out, did we do all the things that we were supposed to do? And oftentimes, I will either give them more suggestions or we move on from where they ended when they finish with the student. And for the most part, we try to work as closely as we can with the parent, because once we send them out, we don't want them feeling like they're stuck and don't know what to do. So sometimes we have had opportunities where we have often gone with the parents to Common Ground. We will sit there with the parent to help support them to make sure that the student gets what they need. So we try as much as possible to help support our children. So know that when your children come to school, they are safe. We are working hard. We can't prevent everything, but if anybody says, whispers, anybody hears something, we're gonna jump in and give them the support they need. We also have Farmington Youth Assistants within our district, and we do call on them as needed. We have Jessica here with us tonight. So there are resources that are available within our district that we utilize on a regular basis. That's all I have for you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. McDougall. Now we're going to go into our real quick update on who each one of the groups are. Jen will handle that. And as we do, I just wanted to point out that this really is a community that cares. And since we've gotten started, Mayor Pro Tem Bridges has entered the room and come to join us. And our newly elected, Mary Newland, newly elected council member. So your city council really takes this seriously. So we support this kind of activity. Jen?
It falls to me. Okay, I'm going to call you guys up here to introduce yourself in order of who their spot first. So Samaritan Counseling gets that honor. And then next up is NAMI Metro. So Mike. And we're just going to pass it along.
I'm lucky number 1. Hi, my name is Jenny, and I'm representing Samaritan Counseling Centers of Southeastern Michigan. In 1986, a consortium of faith and community leaders in Farmington and Farmington Hills saw the need for an interfaith counseling center, which would be able to include in the therapeutic work the spiritual perspectives of the clients we would serve. Samaritan Counseling Center is that center. We have a total of 10 offices, 3 of them here in Farmington Hills. All of our offices are hosted by faith communities, SCC or Samaritan Counseling Center staff. We have 20 licensed therapists, both professionally and religiously diverse. We have counselors, psychologists, religious workers, marriage and family therapists, art therapists, and we all bring our training and skills to the table, and as well as our experience to partner with each other in the community to meet the needs of our communities that we're serving. We are privileged to work in partnership with the Farmington Youth Assistance and other such organizations in outlying communities where we have offices. Hope and healing is what Samaritan Counseling is all about, and hope and healing for all of God's people. Please check us out on sccmish.org.
Mike, you coming? From Senior Counseling Services was going to be here tonight, and her cold came back, so she's not here. Mr. Boati? Thanks. Oh, and I forgot to say, everybody be real short so we can get through this.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Buwati. I represent NAMI Metro. It's an affiliate of NAMI organization. So NAMI is a grassroots, all-volunteer, nonprofit organization that it focuses on improving the quality of life for persons with both serious and non-serious mental health conditions, as well as helping the families through three different things. One, it supports the advocacy and support and education. So how does that work? For advocacy, we support at a legislative level, going to the state as well as the national level. From a support perspective, we run support groups. We have over 19 support groups in the metro area. Now we actually handle, we are actually in Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties. And we have those support groups throughout those areas. And finally, education. Education is the most important thing we feel from a mental health condition. We run actually 12 signature programs. All of them are free. One of those programs I would highly suggest if people have a family who is dealing with a mental health condition is something called Families in Action. And I have brochures about that. It's a 10-week course where actually you learn everything you need to learn, or at least as much as you can learn, about how to do this, how to learn effectively, how to deal with somebody who you love and who has a mental health condition. In addition, NAMI promotes the research that goes into finding a cure for, again, mental health conditions, as well as trying to eliminate, as former mayor had mentioned, the stigma, erasing the stigma that is associated with mental health illness. And then again, we want to make sure that everyone knows that NAMI Metro is focused on trying to make sure that we aren't going to rest until that we won't rest until the mental health condition is going to be on par with every other condition. If you come by my booth, you'll actually be able to take a card. On the back of one of my cards, it says winner. And if you could be able to take this book home, which is actually by Xavier Amador. And he's a great author, and he's on CNN and all the major TV shows and such.
Thank you. Jenny Shramati from Kalash. Okay, whoever from Kalash.
Hello, my name is Vicki Palmer, and this is Teresa Traverso. And Melanie Miller is subleasing an office in our practice. We are co-founders of Collage Counseling. The office is just located east off of Orchard Lake Road, north of Grand River, so just down the street. Teresa was my daughter's wonderful counselor at Harrison High School. And she made a tremendous impact on her life. Then I joined the counseling department at Harrison a couple years later. There is a common vision that brought us together to build our practice. It is to provide individuals, families, and couples with the opportunity to freely express themselves without fear or backlash or judgments. We are glad to be participating here tonight, and that everyone here is making a priority to become informed about mental health resources. It is important to remember that mental health issues are not the result of personal weaknesses, and We just want to remind everybody that you're not alone, and we're here to help. Encourage you to come by our table and grab brochures and information. Thank you.
CNS Healthcare.
No, that's not.
And after that, we're going to have Havenwick.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cheryl LaFleur from CNS Healthcare's Anti-Stigma Program. Our agency, CNS Healthcare, is all over Oakland County, and we are opening an office in Wayne County. Our newest resource this year is we are now a certified community behavior healthcare clinic, so we can treat people as young as 7 and up, and with little or no insurance, and out of county. So this is the flyer on our table. And then our anti-stigma team, we are part of the organization. We come out and do presentations. We educate students in nursing students, psychology students. We recently started into schools, so we will come out at no charge. We will tailor our presentation to whatever you need it for, maybe anti-bullying, suicide prevention, or whatever, but our goal is to educate and prevent.
Thank you. Michelle? I know, you're two things. You can do both.
I'll still be really quick, or try. Make you happy. Okay. Hello, I'm Michelle Chermolano. I am from representing 2 organizations tonight. The first is Havenwick Hospital, which is where I work. I am a social worker, and I work for our business development team. Havenwick offers inpatient and day hospital treatment for children, adolescents, and adults, starting at age 3 for inpatient, age 5 for day hospital. So if you want to check out our resources, we can kind of go over those in detail at the table. And then I'm also representing Oakland County's Suicide Prevention Task Force. In 2019, we switched from the Youth Suicide Prevention Task Force to just the Suicide Prevention Task Force. So we are incorporating not just our youth, but also adults. So it is a group of community partners that have come together to fight suicide and reduce stigma and all those other wonderful things. So we do lots of presentations in the community as well. There's toolkits for parents and means restrictions and all sorts of other stuff. So if you want more, come to my table. There you go. There you go.
Okay, Vicki, Common Ground. And then I never hold it right.
I probably don't even need this. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Vicki, representing Common Ground tonight. Common Ground is a crisis agency that has been moving people from crisis to hope for over 48 years. The things that we specialize in and are close to our heart at Common Ground is our 24-hour resource and crisis helpline. We also have an emergency unit that anyone can come to 24 hours, 7 days a week if you're in crisis and not safe to make it through the night. I could keep going on, but the stats are we helped over 88,000 people last year with over 60,000 just on our phone lines. So come on out and visit me at our table and I'll tell you more. Thanks.
And American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Ann. Turnabout is fair play.
Hello, my name is Ann Perry, and I'm with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. AFSP is a national nonprofit. We have volunteer chapters in all 50 states, so I'm here representing our Michigan chapter. We provide funding for research in suicide prevention on a national level, and here on a local level, we provide funding for our educational and support programming that we have. So just in the last few years, we've gone into a statewide chapter, which means that through our different fundraising efforts, mainly our Out of the Darkness walks and campus walks, we take that money raised and we can go everywhere from Ishpeming and Marquette to Rogers City and Grand Rapids and Detroit. So we will go anywhere that will have us. If you would like to see some of we have internal programs that we support, everything from a half hour long to 2 days long. We also support some external programs, mental health first aid, Safe Talk, Assist, those type of things, free of charge. So we're happy to come into schools and businesses and, like I said, anywhere really that will have us. 2 quick mentions on some dates. The Saturday before Thanksgiving every year is International Survivor of Suicide Loss Day. So that this year is a week from Saturday, November 23rd, and we have a handful of events you can find at afsp.org/Michigan. There's one in Clarkston, in Bloomfield Hills through Common Ground, and there's one downriver as well, as in another handful of them. And then March 5th, as I mentioned, if you're interested in learning more of our advocacy efforts, we will be in Lansing fighting for some policy change. So, and I do have to commend what you're doing in the schools, because it's more often than not that we're called in with toolkits for after a suicide. So I think it's really great what you're doing.
I'm an advocate for AFSP. That's year round, not just March 5th. I'm just going to not use this. It's ridiculous. Okay. Jesse, Farmington Youth Assistance. You don't need one either. She'll shout. After her, I'm going to have Heidi.
Oh, darn it.
Well, you can.
Hi, Todd. Hi, I'm Jessie from Farmington Youth Assistance. I am the caseworker. I get referrals from schools, parents, communities, police in order to identify mental health, make sure our kids are successful at homeschool and community. It looks different for every family that comes in. Lots of people in here are my referrals, where I will send kids, Samaritan, CLS, Collage, many of you guys. We are starting conversations at the school. We are partnering with the school to be able to have some of these tough conversations. And within the community. I don't know what else to say. Oh, and we are having a movie premiere next week of resilience that talks about trauma and how we can become resilient against it. So please check out our table and grab that info.
Okay, Heidi, Easter Seals. After Heidi, I'm going to have Beaumont come up.
Hi, good evening. My name is Heidi Redd. I'm program manager with Easter Seals. Easter Seals provides behavioral health services for children, families, and adults. So we actually service 0 all the way on up. So mental health services, substance abuse, autism services for kids. So we have a lot of different programs that we offer. Like CNS was saying, Easter Seals also is a certified clinical behavioral health center. So that's really opened up the doors for us to serve anyone. Kind of the motto is no wrong door and no 4 walls. So no matter which Easter Seals you show up, we're here to help reduce barriers. Don't have transportation be a barrier, don't have insurance be a barrier. And so really kind of helping to provide services to anyone who's in need. Easter Seals, we do have several locations throughout Oakland County, and then we also have offices in Flint, Macomb, and Grand Rapids. Easter Seals is actually celebrating 100 years this year. So that's very exciting, yay! And we're actually having our Cheers to 100 Years coming up in December. So if you're interested in our fundraiser, I have information at the table. And then, so once again, Easter Seals, and we're here to help people live, learn, work, and play in their community.
Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel Green from Beaumont, Farmington Hills. I have a 25-bed geriatric psych unit on our floor. We take all forms of mental illness, including dementia there. Also, any of our emergency rooms, if you feel that you or someone you love or know have suicidal thoughts, you are welcome to bring them in, and we can assess them in our emergency room to see if they need inpatient psych unit.
Okay, Amanda, you matter. I know, in the back row, I'm sorry. Right after Amanda, we're going to have Ryan from New Oakland.
Amanda couldn't show up, so I'm oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. Hi.
He told me they were coming.
Don't worry about it. Hi, my name is Annie Chernow. I am the president of You Matter. You Matter is a teen-led board that brings awareness to mental health and suicide. Our main goal is to eliminate the stigma of mental health. And some ways we do this is through why am I blank? Social media campaigns. We have You Matter Weeks throughout schools all over Metro Detroit, and we've also had You Matter Weeks in Florida and North Carolina, which are basically week-long events bringing awareness to mental health and having students speak up and letting them know that it's okay to not be okay and it's okay to speak about what's going on. And if you want to come learn more, you can stop by my booth. Thank you.
Okay. After New Oakland, we're going to have Farmington Safe. Sarah?
Hello, I'm Ryan Grusecki. I'm here on behalf of New Oakland Family Centers. We're a full-service mental health facility with a family focus. We do a lot of work with kids. One of the great things we do is the face-to-face program, which gives an alternative to full inpatient care where kids can come in during the day and then allows them to sleep in their own bed at night. It's a little less intrusive on their life. We offer all different services. Right here in Farmington, we have a fantastic eating disorders program with an awesome doctor. One of the extra things they do as an organization that's great is my background is I'm a family law attorney, and I'm there to answer questions for anybody who has issues. As we know, sometimes those things drive other issues and cause anxiety and things like that. And they're really focused on helping out families and just treating all of them as one. And if you want any more information about the things we do, just stop by my booth.
After Safe, we have Beverly Hills.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Majoris. I'm part of Farmington Safe. Ken talked about us earlier, so I'll keep it short. We started in 2010 after a rash of suicide attempts, Ken mentioned. And now we try to bring community events like this to our nice town and bring suicide and mental illness out of the darkness. And we're really happy that you're all here tonight. So thank you for being part of it.
After Beverly Hills, we have Kelly from PTA Council.
Hi, everybody. My name's Christine Lyon, and I'm here with my colleague, Marcia Klusnick. I am representing my community of 9 therapists at Beverly Hills Therapy Group. We're at 13 and a half in Southfield, so not too far away from here. We serve suburban and Metro Detroit. We provide counseling for individuals, children, teens, couples, and families. And we're proud to join this group of organizations as we share our passion for providing quality mental health care for all, for everybody, for as diverse a population as we can possibly manage at our practice. We welcome conversations with you about how we as private practitioners can support your efforts to reach people with your services, and we stand ready to work with you as individual therapists to provide support and strategies to live well and healthy. Thank you.
Kelly. After PTA Council, we have Oakland Family Services.
Thank you, Jen. I'm Kelly Carpenter Crawford. I'm on the board of the Farmington Area PTA Council. Jen is also on the board. Nancy's also on the board, so our board is represented by 3 members, so I hope I represent us well. So the PTA Council represents and supports the 15 local PTA units in our school district at the pre-K, elementary, K-8, middle school, and high school. So we have over 4,000 members, and then those who are members of our local units are members of our council, state, and national PTA. So we do advocacy from very local with our Board of Education all the way up to state and national advocacy. But probably most relevant to those of you sitting in the audience is that we also do a lot of education and information sharing. We do a lot of collaboration with other groups in the community. So we're a way to share all of the information that you're sharing with us tonight back into our school district to parents, teachers, and students. So our meetings are open to the public. Our next meeting is February the 3rd. It will be held at Warner Middle School. If you stop by our table, I have a sheet that references our website. It also references on the back a whole number of emotional wellness resources that are available on the national PTA website. So if that's something you want to look at and maybe share within your organization. Thanks for your time.
Oh,
I once. We'll say it again. So one of the collaborations we're doing is we're co-hosting the movie Resilience with Farmington Youth Assistance and with Dr. McDougall with the Farmington Public Schools. So those are the kinds of things we like to do.
After Oakland Family Services, we have the VA.
Hi, I'm Emily Mandigo with Oakland Family Services. Our vision is to build brighter futures throughout the community. We do that through education, prevention, and treatment. I'm here on our treatment side, our Day 1 program. We have an office in Walled Lake, which is off of 15 and M5, so not too far. And then in Berkeley and Pontiac, we do outpatient counseling for mental health, substance use disorders, and co-occurring disorders from ages 4 to end of life.
After the VA, we have CLS counseling.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tara Consolino. I'm the Director of Suicide Prevention and Substance Use Disorders down at the Detroit VA. We're here and we're excited to be here tonight because we're looking to collaborate, not to compete. VA has immediate mental health and substance use disorder access, walk-in services available, but outside of that, we also have trainers available, trainers on PTSD, Military 101, suicide prevention techniques. So in all seriousness, stop by our table, grab my card, grab some swag. We're looking forward to hearing from you and working with you in the future.
School of Psychology after that.
I'm Christina Shoemaker. I retired from Farmington Schools about 3 or 4 years ago. Started private practice with Collage, subletting an office there. And before I knew it, I was busting at the seams and have started my own solo practitioner in Southfield. I'm all by myself, and I'm okay with that. I have a couple of folks who come in and sublet another office in my suite. My specialty area is trauma. I'm a certified trauma practitioner, and I'm trained to use EMDR as an approach to counseling.
Dr. Maher, and after that, we have Jewish Family Service.
My name is Jim Maher, and I'm from the Michigan School of Psychology. And I'm here because the school is opening a training clinic starting in January, and then working on a building that's going to be the permanent site of the clinic right down the road from here. A couple of things I'm thinking about with regard to that. The first is that I was thinking of Mr. Spears and Dr. McDougall's words, and I was speaking with a student earlier today, and there's a lot of training that students get, but really what it comes down to is leaving a person feeling like they're not alone with what they're going through, and there's a sense of hope that whatever they're going through today isn't necessarily going to be the scene that they live tomorrow or next week or next year. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the training clinic is going to be based on ability to pay. It's going to be on a sliding scale for people who either don't have insurance or are underinsured or can't afford their co-pays. And so there won't be people turned away for any reason because of financial reasons. The other thing I wanted to mention, the last thing, is that I wasn't familiar with this community before I started working at the Michigan School of Psychology in August. And I have to say what a privilege it is to be in a community that is so open and so willing to work in understanding mental health and mental illness. It's an honor to be here.
And then after Dr. Black, we have Oakland Community Health Network.
Good evening, I'm Randy Black from Jewish Family Service. We offer a wide variety of different types of services in our West Bloomfield and Oak Park offices, including outpatient counseling for children, teens, adults. We offer ongoing case management services for families, for older adults. We have a 24-hour geriatric care management program. We offer transportation, we offer health and wellness programs, and we offer healthcare navigation for folks that are looking to apply for healthcare.
I'm Barrett Haar. I work with Randy at Jewish Family Service, where I do behavioral health navigation for families whose children are struggling with their mental health. It's a free service open to anyone in Oakland County, Jewish or not, to help them navigate and connect to the right practitioner for whatever their kid's specific need may be. We can match based on location and based on insurance and based on specialty. So I'm sort of like behavioral health Google, where I help families. They can give me a needle in a haystack and I'll find it for them.
Okay, and next up after that is the why.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Amy Heinzelman, and I'm here representing Oakland Community Health Network, which is the public mental health service provider for Oakland County. We contract all of our direct services, and we provide behavioral health, substance use, and services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, basically from birth until end of life, for those who have Medicaid insurance. And I have lots of information out at the desk. I don't want to take any more time. Lots of our providers are here and have lots of resources as well, so visit our tables.
After the why, we have Sib for Sib.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Callis. I work at the Farmington Family YMCA. I am a site supervisor for the before and after school program at the Farmington STEAM Academy. At the Y, our mission is to put Judeo-Christian principles into practice through the programs that we have that help build a healthy mind, body, and spirit. We are for youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. At the Y, we offer programs for people of all ages and all backgrounds. And those programs are in the realm of health and wellness, personal training, youth sports, adult sports, summer camp, which I also work in, before and after care, early education, aquatics, and more. And I just want to say that I am currently a student at Wayne State for social work, so this resource fair has a lot to, touches a lot of heartstrings, tugs on my heartstrings, so I just want to say thank you for everyone that is here as well.
I can't get it to work again. After Jesse, I know we have the police department. Is there anyone I missed? Okay, so come on up.
Hi, my name is Jessica Goldberg. I'm here representing Sib for Sib. Sib for Sib is unique because it provides a support network for individuals who have a sibling that struggles with mental health, cognitive impairments, or developmental disabilities. Siblings don't really have any resources just for them, so we provide support groups, networking, resources, advocacy, and social outings, all free of charge. Our support groups meet twice a month, are facilitated by licensed mental health professionals. We provide lots of coping skills and mindfulness, and you should come see our table because I have candy and tote bags.
Hello, everyone. My name is Diane. I'm the Wellness Coordinator for the Alliance of Coalition for Healthy Communities. We are about to embark on having our 20th coalition, being Farmington Hills. They have joined all of Oakland County. We service all of Oakland County. We provide support for all the coalitions that are in substance abuse prevention. I am the wellness coordinator, and my territory is Oakland County, and I do this by myself. And I have created a program on holistic wellness, mind, body, spirit. So we look at healthy mind, strong body, and resilient spirit. So our take on that is, as we help people balance their life, they may more or less likely use substances and have depression and things of that nature. We have a variety of services. We work with kids, we work with adults. We have doTERRA bags on the table. Please help yourself. That is to put in prescription drugs. Don't flush them. Do not throw them in the garbage. It goes into the water ways and our fish, and then we eat the fish. So use the doTERRA bags, or go to many of the police departments, and I don't know if Farmington Hills is one of them, that, and they're saying yes, that you can do a disposal. And Royal Oak was the first police department to have that, which I was a part of bringing that into Oakland County when we discovered people had bags and bags and bags and full of prescription drugs they didn't want to throw away. They didn't know what to do with it. So thank you very much. I have a whole list of things that we do for people in recovery, people who need to go into recovery, and we service all kinds of gaps that you have here. All our services are free. Thank you.
Okay. So that's everybody but the police department. And so after Officer King speaks, oh, it's going to be, oh, did you want to speak, Todd? Come on up. Sorry. False alarm.
Thank you. Real quick, because I have so many of our great city council people in this room,
I can't go without saying thank you to you. Over the past 25 years, I'm going to put my first hat on. I've been honored to be the Director of Youth and Family Services, where we have had 25 years of successful after-school program, and we have seen 16,000 kids go through our program every day from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So we're proud of that. Thanks for spending $7.5 million. Anytime you do that as a city, I'm proud to say that out of the 13 cities that started with us, after 25 years, we're the only one left that started that type of work. So congratulations to all of you. Now it's my second hat. About 2 years ago, a group of us, including Ken, got together and decided that St. Alexander's Church had to be purchased and not gone. And we purchased a church and have turned that into a care center. It's a campus of hope. When we first took it over, the pantry fed about 130 people. If I was a for-profit business, we'd be being trampled on how we grew. In the last year, since September to September, we now have 750 families that we're feeding that come to CARES throughout a year. Throughout about 2 months, we're seeing about 450 people a month, their families, 1,780 people that includes in their families. But we have a campus of a food pantry, a clothing closet. We are working with the veterans and want to work more with you guys on our 10.5 acres, along with now we just started some substance abuse programs that are happening in our former convent, and we're working to put 6 offices in our convent that were former bedrooms so that we can help with mental health and suicide awareness. So thank you to this community for supporting so many things. We appreciate that. And I think that I just heard it tonight. We just fed 500 people at dinner down the street for Thanksgiving. And yeah, that deserves a... Again, that was free to all those folks that came, and it was paid for by a lot of great people in this community. But they just said they've moved here about 10 years ago, and they lived all over the country, and they've never lived in a place that cares more for people. And I just thought that was a great comment tonight. So thank you to all of you.
Okay. So I'm going to let Officer King talk, and then as soon as he's done, we're all going to go back out and do more resource tabling, okay? You should.
Okay. Just to cap off something that you said, we just did our drug take back in one day, a 4-hour event. We took in 364 pounds of pills from the community. So that's that's in addition to the program that we run 24/7. You can walk into the front desk and drop any kind of prescription medications off that you no questions asked. We'll process it and we'll get rid of it for you. We do that 24/7. As they've stated, I was going to try to trick everybody and see what organization I represented. I figured I dressed wrong for that. My name is Jeff King. I'm an Assistant Chief of Police with the Farmington Hills Police Department. We go on about over 40,000, we receive, our PSAP center, our dispatch center, receives about 40,000 calls per year. We go on about 27,000 to 28,000 calls per year where we actually dispatch a car out. About 24% of our calls are documented that involve mental health issues, okay? That's conservative. We complete petitions for evaluation on at least 28 adults a month. We go on one petition a day, at least. Sometimes we've gone as many as 10 in one day. It's all 3 shifts, 24 hours a day. About 50 children, minors, a year are petitioned for evaluation. And that's just what we are involved in. And that's just what's documented. What I want to do is I want to highlight some of the things that the Farmington Hills Police Department does to prepare our officers to help with this situation. All of our officers go through what's called mental health first aid. That's for all of our officers and our dispatchers. All of our emergency personnel go through that. We go through Survive and Thrive training. It's another program. And we go through the DOJ Valor program. That is so that we are trained, aware, as the best of our ability to identify at the earliest point possible in any of these runs or all these calls for service to identify persons that are suffering from a mental health situation and to provide them aid, to get them the resources, the response, de-escalation, get them the help that they need for them, the family, everyone involved. The second side of that, I just want to say, is for us. Suicide amongst law enforcement, first responders are pretty high. It's not documented nearly as much as it happens. So the thing that we pride ourselves on for all of our personnel is that in addition to giving our personnel the resources and the awareness, the education to deal with the community, it gives them the awareness to deal with themselves, their families at home. So that's just a little bit of what we do. I'll be over at the table if anyone has any additional questions. That's it. Oh, and then back to you.
Okay, Jen was absolutely correct. Now we want you to go back out and network and really get to know each other, ask each other questions. But 3 quick things. Number 1 is when you're out there, there's refreshments out there. Eat the cookies. Eat the cookies. I just want to say that. Secondly, Farmington Safe. Everything Farmington Safe does relies on 0 tax dollars. We have a little in-kind donation. We get to use the city hall, but we do all of what we do, all of our community activities are supported by a 501c3 called the Graham E. Smith Memorial Fund, and there's information about that on the resource table out there. And the third thing as I turn it over is this is the second one of these resource fairs that we have done, and Jen Garland has been the person that is your contact that gets this thing here, and she needs a round of applause.